We're here at Gates Ford, and apparently inside there is where the Mach 1 is. Not seen it before, obviously seen a million of them on videos, well not a million but you know what I mean, and I'm very excited to see it in the flesh for the first time and drive it home. Oh yeah. That is super cool.
Always wants just like you. Always wants just like you. Always wants just like you.
Look at those exhausts. Look at those exhausts.
Let's go. To the start of my journey, not only with this Mustang Mach 1, but to this Driven Floored channel. I'm very pleased, delighted with what we have here. I love the spec. I think the fighter jet grey is brilliant, and it works just so well with the rest of the colours and the touches that Ford have put on the car. The way it sounds, it just doesn't get old, or at least it hasn't got old yet. I'll let you know in a few thousand miles, but I don't think so. This is a nice little stretch here. Drop it down into second. It's happy in second, just above 20 miles an hour. I'm very happy. And we really can't go any faster than that. It was a long wait to get the car. It was about 9 months from the original order spring last year. Collection day was a fantastic experience. It was really good fun. I took my son. I have a good friend up in Norfolk, and he came down and joined us, brought his F-Type, which burbled away beautifully, and we had a lot of fun with it. We brought it back from the dealership and have just been using it over the last few days. We took it up to the NEC. There was a car show up at the National Exhibition Centre, and we took it up there. That was great fun. Immediately became apparent people are interested in this car. I know I'm still like a kid with a new toy. We're not very far into the ownership experience, but it just kind of has that feeling. I'm going to be enjoying it this much when I've done 5,000 miles instead of 500 miles. Everything just feels good. These seats, these are the standard issue seats, as you can see from the orange stripe. You get the heated and cooled functions in these seats, and I get that the Recaro is a good seat. It's a great seat, but I didn't want to compromise on that element of comfort. I did have some concerns about the Mustang. I hadn't driven a Mustang. This is the first time I've actually driven any Mustang, not just my own Mach 1, but any Mustang. And of course, over these last couple of days, I've been getting the feel for what that actually means. And my main concern centered around the weight and the sense of how the car would run and feel, and the steering, the clutch. I'd had people say to me, "Oh, well, you're going to drive that daily. That's going to hope you've been down the gym with your left leg." But honestly, the clutch is fine. all of that is nonsense. There is nothing about this clutch that is tough or difficult to use. It's not a heavy clutch. It's got a really nice weight to it, but it's not unpleasantly heavy, and that was great to get in and think, yeah, this is not going to be a problem. I can drive this every day. I look forward to giving you a much more in-depth review when I get to 3,000 miles, let's say, down the road, and I've really lived with the car and enjoyed it. The ride comfort is excellent in, frankly, all the modes. Even when it's in one of the silly daft sports modes, it is still a pretty comfortable car. The tech is pretty good in this car. Another one of my areas of concern was the tech. The standard Ford Sync 3 is pretty good, but what is really great is the ease with which you can just plug straight in and use Apple Play. The Apple Play system so far has been faultless, plugs in, works. None of this messing around, wondering if it wants to deliver it. I remember when I drove a Ford Galaxy, I had all kinds of issues with it plugging in and out. I've experienced that in other vehicles where it doesn't always necessarily want to give you Apple Play every time. You have to sort of do the old switch it on and off again thing. But here, it's been great. When you get up into those higher revs, it is just a wonderful thing. The sound, the feel, even with the pace and the speed, the car really begins to hunker down. I'm guessing it's all the downforce kit that is on the car. You really begin to feel it. It does begin to just hold the car that much more in place. It's really impressive. Unless I was being a complete idiot, I don't think I'm going to find myself in a tree with this car. I really don't. This gearbox is incredibly sweet. I know a lot of people are talking about the Tremec 6-speed and how great it is. It really is. It really genuinely is the nicest box I have driven. You can just drop down. The rev matching is superb, and it is a lovely thing. Because we're hitting 3,000 revs now in third, and it really likes to take off. That is just a beautiful thing. That is why you buy a car like this. I could do that all day long. The steering has got a really nice feel to it. I've been in cars before where you press mode buttons for sort of comfort and sport and all those kinds of things, and it feels like nothing really happens. Whereas the modes in this car, you really sense the changes. The normal mode is quite nice weighting. You get a fairly open exhaust sound. I actually really like the sound of how the exhaust is in normal mode. And then after that you have Sport Plus, which opens things up a little bit and tightens things a little bit. So if I just scroll up to that now and I go into Sport Plus, obviously I'm in the manual, so I've got control over the gearing anyways. The suspension, immediately there, I'm around the corner, I can feel this has tightened the steering. As I go round here, I can feel it on the suspension setup. Definitely changes as you move into Sport Plus. It's fascinating. The steering clearly tightens. After Sport Plus, you have Racetrack, which it tells me is for track use only. I suspect part of the reason it tells you that this is for... Oh, it sounds so good. It tells you that this is for track mode only, other than everything starts sounding great, is the traction control gets turned off. So if you're in a remotely slippy, tricky place, or you are driving round corners and so on with any kind of enthusiasm, traction control is turned off automatically when you go into track mode. So worth bearing in mind. After track mode is the rather amusingly named drag strip mode. which it also warns me about. I have no particular desire to drag strip this car at this point. Maybe that will change and it will be interesting to see. I would love to get it out on a skid pan. I'd love to learn more about where this car's limits lie. So skid pans, tracks, they're coming. Whether I'm likely to get it on a drag strip, I don't know. Not really my thing, not done that before. So after those crazy modes, you have a snow and wet mode, which is a sensible enough mode to have. And I've noticed in the short time that I've been playing around with this, that basically snow and wet mode pulls back. Although I've got control in terms of the gearing, it still is sort of a little off the pace in terms of how it delivers the speed. So I could be in third on a road like this, I drop it down. If I really hit that, the delivery is very rapid, whereas in snow and wet mode, it feels as though it's just sort of holding off on that a little bit and not allowing me to be a complete hooligan. It accelerates nicely, but it is not with the aggression that the other modes give it. I've got a few other trips coming up in the coming weeks and months. My daughter is getting married, and I don't know yet what is going to be the wedding car. It's possible the Mustang will play a part in the wedding. I don't know yet, so that'll be fun to see. So it's been a bit of a journey of discovery, enjoying this car for a few days. From my point of view, I feel like it is an absolute success. For me, the Mach 1 is just a brilliant combination of all that I want in a car. One thing about this that I've noticed, and again, it's probably my inexperience with the car, it's not that easy to get off the line quickly, really get the power down and get away well. I had a little Mercedes SLK 32, which was a little kind of pocket rocket. When you look the stats up on that car, it's supposed to do 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. I could go out any day of the week, floor that thing. Granted, it had an auto box, but you could floor that thing and you would do 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds anytime you tried. In this, just not happening. The power delivery is going to be an interesting one with this. But Tesla drivers, they can't do that. And frankly, you can keep going 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. If it doesn't sound like that, if all you do is go and you've got to 60, I'm not interested. If you're not familiar with the idea of the Pinterest 100 list, there are videos about that, but basically I just decided to make a list one day of all the cars that I'd ever driven or owned since I started driving at 17. Thanks for sticking with me this far into the video. If you want to follow the journey of this Mach 1 over here in the UK, or you want to find out more about any other cars that are on the Pinterest list, then subscribe, and you'll get told whenever I get round to releasing another video. I'm going to try and put them up every week. We will see how that goes.